You can direct it, you can control it, but you can also let it free. And this is why I like to write code as well, that you can kind of make that tangibility clear, you know, that I normally have from reflecting on my writing practice.
So, Maisa, I think in today's session, we're going to talk about something that's causing you a lot of anxiety, your website.
Okay.
Are you feeling good today? Can we talk about that?
I would like to get it over with, to be honest. It's been haunting me. It's been hard lately.
I understand. So my first question is when you made your website and why you made your website, if you can.
I made it in 2018, or actually 2019, and it was after finishing the bootcamp coding school. And then it was kind of like, well, the whole school was based on more like back-end web development, even though it was specifically full stack web development course. And then I was missing this kind of like front-end web development challenge where I could, you know, like express myself as and stuff. So then I was like, the first assignment that I gave to myself is going to be to build my own website.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it was right after, actually. I want to translate my portfolio into a website. And I also wanted to kind of understand where does front end fit in the full stack web development, because there was not so much of it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much of it was covered in the course that I was like, okay, I kind of need to rebalance that and just focus on front end.
And if we talk about front end, do you think you could explain me a bit the interface of your website?
The interface of my website, wow, it's so, you enter my website, maisaimamović.eu, and then there is
.eu.
.eu. That's my European operations. But then there is like a background that is called, the background is called temporary.png. But it's been there since I made the website, so it's not really temporary.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a very long temporary. And it's an image of it's from some anime movie. I think from Millennium Actress or something.
I heard it was from SpongeBob.
No.
Always, I thought.
No. It's who am I having therapy with? But it's like an image of Vodafone phone. And then you enter and there's like 4 cards, which when I kind of was making the design in the beginning, I thought I wanted them to look like windows. So like windows in which I feel like my practice is based. So that's like web development at that time became the new window, and then writing. And then I had design, which is not part of it anymore. And then now it's like writing, my text, my publications. It's the biggest card. And then there's one for websites, and then a window pops up where I kind of just describe the reflections, my reflections on internet, what we talk about.
So is it a window with links or with a text?
Yeah, so it's a text. Oh yeah, it's a text, and it's a beginning of the recent text series that I started, which is called The Non-Technical Issues. So it basically briefs out each article is written after I like deploy a website with my client, and they kind of like brief out our collaboration and if we shared any references, you know, just like reflecting on what happened and also the technologies as well. So this also like at the end of this text. So this text is kind of like the intro to all these other snippets of text that are not directly accessible through my website, but you can find them on my clients' websites. So then like there's a list of my clients' websites actually. And then there's another window, another card, which lists out my current, what I'm doing now. So like I'm busy with, and then a list, the projects, and then what I was busy with. That is also kind of like immediately reshuffling, you know, like so.
So present and past.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then I have like recent additions are 2 buttons, default undesigned buttons. Yeah. That
And what do they lead to?
so one is called my screenshots, and I kind of wanted to bring in my folder from my local computer, from my desktop. That is like a collection of screenshots that I've been collecting since I was a student, actually. But that like the selection, I kind of have that impulse, of course, like of screenshots, but also like saving some in this folder. So I wanted to also put it on my website because they speak to me. And then the other one is called Web Fantasies. And it's a list of all the websites that I want to make but don't have time to, and probably will never have time to. But it's nice to have them as a list. It gives me a bit more anxiety.
Okay. And how did you build this website? Which technologies did you use?
HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
Okay. Statement. All right. And you never thought of using other technologies?
No.
Okay. And how often do you update your website?
I'm actually not super synced with my website, and I think that's the core of the problem. Because I don't, it's not, my hands are faster than it. I don't know. There's something wrong about this website. So I update it. Well, recently I've been updating it maybe once in 2 months, but that's why I also made this card where I kind of just can list out what I'm currently busy with and what I was busy with, because it's easier. It's just like a text addition, you know? And then I don't have to kind of curate all the content, you know, from before. But I would love if I could also kind of like continuously reflect on the content that I'm producing as well, so that it's not like only leaning on the documentation, but also kind of like on, or not even presentation. I don't know, maybe we can analyze this later and
for sure.
or maybe we need more sessions. I don't know. But I would like to get.
No, that's an important point. How often do you retrospect your website? Do you think often about it?
It haunts me often. But one retrospection about my website that I refrain from doing is mobile version. And then I think desktop, like each time I think this year I did it more than previous years because of this new card that I made, just like one fixed element that can become fluid. But not so often, actually. Maybe once, each time I update it, that I'm like, okay, reflection time.
Yeah, I get that. Do you often Google yourself and go on your own website just to put yourself in the shoes of someone discovering it again?
Of course.
Yeah. Makes sense. Regarding the future prospects of your website, what is coming? What do you plan on changing?
I need a new temporary .png for sure, but I also
the background. You mean? Okay.
I need a new background, and I'm thinking maybe that should be like my now. You know, this is my now. That should be my background. So now I'm gonna finish my first book, and I was thinking I would like to have an image of the book or like the video of the book be my background. And then also maybe like I would like to make a list of my collaborations without like categorizing them. These are by format, you know. I think I'm just gonna list out Maisa and the name of the collaborator. And kind of, I don't know if it would be like a funny or not funny, but like if it would be a smart user experience move to not categorize the format, you know, because then it would take ages if you are only interested in my texts, or if you're only interested in my drawings, or if you're only interested, you know, like maybe I need some, but it also depends on
ongoing project,
exactly.
You can try it out and see how it feels and try over again.
Exactly. I think I need to do that, but I'm scared.
Yeah, of course. Just
Is that normal?
No, definitely normal.
Okay, then I should do it. I will do it. I promise.
If you put yourself in the shoes of someone when you Google your own self, then you must question also who your target group is.
For
do
sure.
you define that? Or
I
is
do.
it clear to you who your target group is?
I think that's why I'm getting anxious lately, because I don't have a target group yet. Well, expression through website, you already know that it's not going to reach out to everybody, right? But then I feel like I should kind of aim for the global audience because I want to be a global user.
I get that.
But do I need to be a global user? You know what I mean?
That's the goal.
But
to
the
not
thing,
be.
and also I want money.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I want to make continue.
gigs.
I need gigs, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I should make it presentable for potential clients. But then I'm also like, what kind of clients, you know?
Exactly, because the more close to your practice it is, the more it's gonna attract people who understand your practice.
But I also feel like if I just go on with the expression, that I'm losing clients as well. Which is the risk that at the moment I don't mind taking.
Yeah, is it a good moment? Or
yeah,
should it be
but I think
5
soon
years?
it will not be a good moment anymore, you know? I kind of like to dwell on it, but at the same time, it's always what's risky about these moments is that nothing really bounces back from clients, be it commercial or whatever. Like you always have feedback coming in, but from this it's just like a loss doesn't really have so much feedback. It just kind of fades out. And it's tricky as a user today in 2022 to not receive any feedback on anything that we are doing, which I think is also part of my anxiety that I would also maybe like another therapy for.
Did your website bring you gigs? Do you know that?
I lost gigs because of my website for sure. Well, I don't know if I lost all of them. I did bring me gigs, but I think most of my gigs came through recommendation. Amsterdam is a good place for that in a way. Yeah, it was mainly recommendations actually through friends or friends of friends. I even think that sometimes, since lately, I've been using my website and my signature. So I've been using it, and then sometimes potential clients would not reply after my reply, and I kind of like to think that it's because of my website.
And then what would be the perfect client in those regards?
As a freelancer, a perfect client for a freelancer is transparent about the budget, expectations, and also is willing to negotiate if my budget proposal doesn't meet their expectations, that they're willing to negotiate further rather than opt for a fight or flight mode. That there's kind of like a gray zone when we talk about budget, because of course it's not a yes or no game. It doesn't have to be a yes or no game from the beginning. A perfect client is somebody who is transparent about the fact that they might be on the lookout for the cheapest web developer.
But then that's already not the perfect client at all.
No, then I can choose if I want to collaborate with this client. You know, I also like to have some choice in the potential collaboration.
And if I may, can I ask you a last question?
Of course.
Why do you continue coding?
Because I love it. I love writing. Writing is the core of my existence. And writing code also gives me an insight to a language that has a function, because you can see also what it does. You know, it really makes me think about the power of language, literally. You know, that like you can actually modify it, you can direct it, you can control it, but you can also let it free, you know? And this is why I like to write code as well, that you can kind of make that tangibility clear, you know, that I normally have from reflecting on my writing practice. It's very like a theory and praxis in a way. It feels like a perfect bridge. But yeah, I mean, I also want to continue coding, and I think it's great that you're willing to take me in as your patient, and we need to cross some obstacles.
Until next session, you should maybe try to update your website a little bit, you know? change the background or change like.
Can you prescribe me some pills? What the fuck? That's such a big homework for a patient.
Just change one color, do something.
Okay. I think it will. Maybe just change the temporary .png.
That would be already a huge move.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maisa.
Are we like past 60 minutes or?
Yes, we are.
We can talk longer. No. Okay, thanks. Are you feeling comfortable?
Yes.
You don't need more water, or do you?
No, I'm good, thanks.
So we called yesterday and you told me that you've been anxious lately about your website.
Yeah, I mean, I've been anxious since day one.
Yeah, since you made it.
Yeah, since I started even thinking about it.
Yeah. So what we're gonna try to do today is go through some questions just so I can get an overview of what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Try to tackle the problems and come up with solutions and maybe even strategies. Let's not get too ambitious.
Okay.
But for like the first session, I think it's important. So do you want to tell me more about the website? Like when did you make it and why?
So I made it in 2018 after, or maybe 2019 when I started coding. Because actually I wanted to learn coding to make my own website. This was the goal. And I thought, I will make my own website and then I'll be able to code on the side and this is going to be my side job, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't go that way at all. I managed to do my own website in a way that, because I was so frustrated from this coding school where we didn't learn anything about interface or just very quickly, and I had this urge to do something. And this is how I started, but I didn't want to announce it because I was maybe shy, or I thought this website is gonna grow, it's gonna go in one direction. I wanted to have a presence online that was not on Instagram. I wanted to show previous projects, but also I didn't want to have the classic portfolio website with all the projects one after another. I mean, it has been complicated since the beginning.
That's very stressful.
So I made 4 versions of my website.
Wow.
One I even didn't dare to push online, actually.
4 versions.
Yeah. So the first one was just a list of things I've been busy with, but also a list of projects that were external, but also a list of my friends who had a website. Just a list, lots of lists.
Actually, could you explain the current version of the website?
Okay, so it's not like that anymore. So now it's completely reshuffled. It's quite classic, which I'm...
Classic?
Yeah, which I'm still
mean?
processing. Well, it's a portfolio website now.
So like your PDF or?
Yeah, kind of. So it has a header, it has a footer, it has a menu, and it has a body. I know.
I'm not judging you. Headers are great.
Yeah, so it has a header which is like moving back and forth, announcing the news. But it's just within announcing the news. There is no news yet, so it's coming.
Yeah.
It has a menu with a scroll too. So it scrolls to the bit. Yeah. And it also has an about straight away.
Is that your bio?
Yeah, it's really formal. It's like, I'm based in Paris and I'm freelancing, blah, blah, blah. And then comes the body part, which is, first part is what I'm currently busy with. So present tense. And then the past, which is a visual scroll through all projects that I've either designed and or coded, and also previous project from studies as well. And then in the end, it's the footer where comes obviously all the links I mentioned also before. So it has quite of a common structure, but the typeface is one I found on a website. It's a platform where you can find typefaces made by female.
Exactly, and they're open source, right?
Exactly, made by Lauren Furter, designer in Brussels. Basically, I was frustrated. I wanted to have... Everyone told me I should put more visuals on my website. That was a bit more clear that I was also a graphic designer and also a web developer, and that you have a visual overview on everything. Because before that, it was more of an abstract website.
Yeah.
It had like 3 columns. On refresh, it would change size and change typeface, and I would change the color scheme all the time.
But that's brave, no?
I had lots of fun making this website, but I feel like it was not very accessible.
Mm-hmm.
No one spent so much time browsing in it, clicking on the links. I had to put images. You know, I had to put visuals.
And what about, is it technically complex?
Not at all. It's HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Very simple. I thought of making a CMS, but that's also a dedication, because then I have to pay for a server, which I'm not at the moment.
Yeah.
And what if tomorrow I want to change my website completely, you know?
The structure.
The structure, the content, everything.
Yeah.
If I have a crisis and I remove, you know?
Yeah,
this happens.
Exactly.
So I didn't want to dedicate to a content management system where you upload your content.
Yeah.
Because then also you're also very limited in how you deal with your content.
It's a commitment.
But you know, I have this structure now, and now it's time also for me to add little surprises as well.
Yeah.
Within this quite common structure, I'm gonna add hidden links somewhere and surprises and stuff. Like I have this base now, and I want to move on as well.
Yeah. Great that you say that, because I'm gonna prepare a little homework for you after. And how often do you update it?
Maybe once a month.
Mm-hmm.
So once a month, for example, if I update a new project. But for example, now the background has this apple green color, and I'm fed up with it. I will change that. Maybe put an image, or a selfie, or a video. Like who knows?
Yeah.
Or maybe another color. Not a gradient. Or you never know. I can change it. I can change it now if you want.
And how often do you retrospect your website, or like reflect on it and go back and stalk your own work?
Think about it all the time, and I always think of how I can improve it and how can I make it how it can merge as much as possible with my current interest and things I'm busy with. Could be professional, but very, very personal too. I think I'd like to play also with this boundary, you know, with this fine line between those two. And right now it's a bit too professional, I feel like, even though it's, you know.
Yeah. And do you have any future prospects for your website, like something planned that you really want to do?
I'm gonna change the arrow of the slideshows.
Yeah. What is it gonna be?
I don't know.
You didn't?
It's gonna be a bit bigger, and I will draw it myself.
Yeah. And do you have any color in mind when you think about these components?
No, this comes very intuitively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure it out on the moment. Yeah, on the mood, season, day of the week.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you mentioned that it's very professional at the moment.
Yeah.
So that also tells me that you're aiming for a certain audience.
Yeah. Well,
so who is your target audience?
I mean, everyone's welcome for sure. Everyone. I mean, in the past, I felt like my website was not accessible enough. Sometimes I would even remove my signature from emails because I was like, okay, this is not gonna be positive, you know. And now I try to make it more approachable, and so I would say, everyone.
Yeah. Wow, the whole world. The whole wide world. That's a bit too ambitious. I think that's
where the problem resides.
Maybe we're getting closer. We're getting to something. And did it bring you gigs? Because you work as a web developer.
Yeah, I have no idea. No one ever tells me. Once I had one good comment on a previous website. Happened once.
What was the comment?
That was interesting and nice, probably. Interesting, nice.
That's valuable.
And if it brought me gigs, I don't know. Sadly, I think Instagram and also... recommendation brings more gigs.
This is often the problem, actually, in the creative context. That, I think it's just the world, where we are now under this regime. Like, definitely, the social platforms are winning the game still.
Sure,
but
sometimes I get contacted and people are like, "Do you have a website?"
Yeah. Don't you feel that sometimes it's hesitation if you should answer the question or just say I don't have a website?
100%. Yeah. Because it's such a statement to have a website, you know?
Yeah, they can be very uncomfortable as much as comfortable.
Yeah.
Can you please define who would be the perfect client for you?
I think the perfect client is someone who is willing to have a conversation about their online digital presence, you know, where we can define together what it will mean.
Yeah.
And where we can talk about maybe emotions as well. Someone who's not close to that.
Yeah.
Closed.
Yeah.
Someone who pays fairly, of course. Someone who pays in time. And also someone who's not having any power dynamic because they're paying you, you know? I see that more as a collaboration and mutual help, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be for me the perfect client.
Yeah, that sounds good. I hope that they exist.
For sure. They should exist, yeah.
Yeah. Why do you continue coding?
To update my website? To still know the tools? No, I don't know.
Version
because
4.0.
It has so many, websites have endless possibilities of how they should exist online and what they bring to the people. And and there is so much hope, and I think I'm aiming towards doing something a bit more like collective or something, to have like something more collective that reunites people on a platform or something. I mean, I see there are lots of interesting structures that exist, and this gives me a lot of hope. And I feel like there are so many more hybrid objects we can create, you know, like it's not only social platforms or e-shops or this or that. Like there is much more room for hybrid things, you know, like I'm so fed up with these websites that as soon as they are launched, I feel like they are dead, you know? They are launched and that's it, and then there is no excitement anymore.
Yeah.
So I think there is much more to discover and to build. And
well, now we have 2 minutes left, so I would like to arrange another session with you. I think we still have a lot to cover, but before seeing you next time, I would like to give you a little homework. And what I noted down, I think at the moment what you're having, this anxiety that keeps coming back, is you're suffering a bit from the containers of your achievements. So how to represent your achievements. I think you're too focused on the structure rather than what you see is fulfilling you, you know, like creatively. And it seems like you're a very creative person. And it seems like web development and coding is important to you, of course, to your hands. So I would suggest that you make small steps in your coding, or like start, of course, like with your website. Or maybe even somebody else's website. So like the client's website, try the hidden comments. I think that's what you should do. And really just like reflect on what can be ephemeral about your coding practice, because I think you are an ephemeral coder.
I love that term.
Yeah.
I think you are an ephemeral coder too.
We are ephemeral coders.